How to create artificial blood. To create a realistic artificial blood substitute, we use Crystal Light or another drink solution. We recommend 2 packets of Crystal Light per 8 ounces of water. Continue to add more as needed just until it goes into solution. The goal is to create a concentrated stock solution which will dilute to the hue of venous blood when it mixes with the crystalloid prime. How to create the neck cannula reservoir. Start off with the dead end connector, shown here, sized up to a 1/4 3/8 inch connector. This connects to a standard 3/8 inch bladder with a tie band in place. The bladder has 2 pigtails in place with stopcocks, which are available to the facilitator to infuse fluids. Exit the bladder with another tie band in place and interface with the cannula of your choice, shown here, a 31 French Avalon cannula. How to position the neck cannula reservoir. Any adult-sized mannequin will work. Start off with the previously created adult-sized reservoir. Position it under the neck. If an artificial skin mold is available, it's best to place the cannula underneath the skin and then secure with gauze in place. Then the pigtails to the stopcock can be covered with bedding so they're hidden from view but are accessible to the facilitator to infuse IV fluids, as shown here. For an infant setup using a high-fidelity mannequin, create an infant-sized reservoir in the same manner as previously demonstrated with the adult mannequin, with the exception that you will use a 1/4 inch connector, a standard 1/4 inch bladder, and an appropriate pediatric-sized cannula, shown here, a 16 French Avalon catheter. Conceal the reservoir underneath the artificial skin, ensuring the pigtails remain accessible to the facilitator, hiding any additional portions in the bedding and diaper. A second option is to use a standard infant mannequin. Once again, use the infant-sized reservoir. Simply place it underneath the mannequin and conceal any exposed portions with the bedding and diaper, ensuring that the pigtails remain accessible to the facilitator. How to introduce venous air. You will need a large bore needle and a needleless hub. Use the needle to puncture a hole in the hub. Once the hole is created, attach the hub to a stopcock in line with the circuit. Observe that the hole is sufficient to allow blood to leak when the stopcock is open to the hub. Have the facilitator draw blood from an IV extension line to help create a negative pressure in the circuit. If using a centrifugal pump, This negative pressure will allow air to be entrained on the venous side of the circuit. Continue to entrain air until an adequate amount is present as a visible cue or enough to deprime the centrifugal pump head. How to introduce arterial air. You will need an IV extension line with a small amount of air included in the prime. Attach the IV extension to a stopcock on the arterial side of the circuit close to the bubble detector. Have the facilitator inject the air into the circuit to trigger the bubble detector alarm. How to create decannulation. Attach an open-ended, blunt-tip connector to a stretch of IV tubing. Hide the tubing under the neck of the mannequin or under the artificial skin. Have the facilitator eject blood through the tubing during the decannulation scenario. How to simulate a pressure gradient. A pressure gradient can be simulated using external simulated pressure transducers. Disconnect the circuit transducer cables and replace them with the simulated transducers. Dial in the desired pressure for display. Hide the simulated transducers in a back panel or in the region of the facilitator's workspace. Facilitator station setup. You will need a laptop computer to run the Laerdal simulation software, which can be pre-programmed or manipulated manually, and a standard computer monitor to display the pertinent vital signs, to include heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen saturation, central venous pressure, temperature, and SpO2 as an option.